Hello, everybody, and welcome to Cisco's Virtual Kitchen. My name is Lisa Evangelos, and I'm excited to be back. This is my second time here in a week, which is not my usual. I'm usually only here once a month, so I'm excited to be back so soon with another episode with the Culinary Federation. We are back with our Chefs in the Field series, and we have a special guest today. Last week, we were tuning in all the way to Iceland. Today, we're sticking in our own home province of Alberta. But we're going to have Mathieu Pare from Canada Beef with us in just a moment. But before we get there, I just wanted to remind everybody a little bit about the Culinary Federation. We are the professional association of chefs, cooks, and culinary partners across Canada. And to show you a little bit about what we do and who we are, we're going to play a quick clip here before we begin our episode.
The Culinary Federation is so much more than a professional association. It's friendship. It's fun. And it's family. Come find where you fit in. Join the Culinary Federation family today.
Awesome. The Culinary Federation family. I just love that. I really feel like it's the truth. We were just having quite a fun time here in the green room, sound check, tech check before the episode started. Just laughing and having a good time together, building community. Today, we have an exciting guest, really two guests, and really two parts of that Federation family we were just talking about. We have Mathieu Pare from Canada Beef, who is the Executive Director of the Canadian Beef Centre of Excellence in Calgary, Alberta. And he is not only a local branch member of the Culinary Federation Calgary branch, but Canada Beef is one of our partners of the National Association. So we're excited to welcome both members of the family to Chefs in the Field today on Cisco's Virtual Kitchen. Welcome, Mathieu. How are you today?
I'm doing really well. I am so happy to join you in the studio. Thank you.
I know it's very exciting. This is my first time really meeting you, so I'm looking forward to our chat today.
Same here.
Good.
You know, I've been watching your show and I've been enjoying it a lot, and I've had a chance to meet Jay before. So thanks for having us.
Yeah, it just really fell into place perfectly. So I'd love for you to just kick things off, telling us a little bit about your chef journey, where it began, where it's taken you, and what's brought you here today as a chef and also as the Executive Director of the Canadian Beef Centre of Excellence.
Okay, I'll launch into the chef journey part. I got to say that I was drawn to the culinary trade and a cooking career when I was before I was able to read and write. I went to my elementary school on the first day, and they ask you what you want to be when you grow up, and I drew a picture of a chef, like white hat, pan with eggs in it, and I even remember that all the way back, thinking for my career journey that's ultimately what I wanted to do. And so, you know, the pathway took a couple turns along the way. I did cook when I was a teenager in some tourist towns where I was, you know, working on my snowboarding skills and learning to cook along the way. And then eventually I studied tourism management and enjoyed that, but I was really just hungry for immersion into culinary. So after working in a family business that was focused on gemstone jewelry mining and marketing, I took the plunge and I sent myself to school.
Very cool. And where was that? Where did you do your education for culinary?
I studied at SAIT in the professional culinary program at SAIT.
Awesome.
It was tremendous opportunity. It was like, you know, I was spending my own money on my own education. So I was a really serious student, like I'd never really been before. I got an award while I was there, the Governor General Academic Medal for Achievement. I got to be on stage.
Well done.
In the awards ceremony with the dean of the school. And so I was just, you know, so much opportunity from following a passion, and it was a huge plunge for me. And and from there, I just was really always looking to maximize every possible experience in terms of, quality of training, quality of chefs to be associated with, quality of restaurants, and quality of product. So that really, I guess, defined my journey. And one thing was I always tried to also keep in perspective, the previous experience that I had, especially in sales and marketing, and the parallels that I could draw, those skills, those techniques, my mentors in sales and marketing that helped me to be able to craft, message around product and romance products. So that's sort of was the foundation. And eventually I found myself working in like some nice environments, some really beautiful spaces. I worked at the Quails Gate Winery in the Okanagan when I was coming out of my schooling. So I was immersed there in like, kind of a land of splendor in terms of the bounty from the farms and the forest, and an appreciation for culinary there. And then I came home to Calgary. I worked at Rouge Restaurant, and then I went to work with Canadian Pacific Railway, where I was a chef on board a train called the Royal Canadian Pacific. And so it was a really small dining room and galley, and a really sort of intimate environment to speak to the product and to speak to the menus and the craft of the cooking and the selection of the products to showcase the Canadian landscape through food and dining. And that's when, I started to really, get a bit of a groove for, just talking to people about the food and the product and the quality that they're selecting and the importance of that and the romance to build that experience. And so I think that's sort of what sort of brought me from the kitchen and into, more of a marketing role with Canada Beef, where I've had, almost the best of both worlds, where I've been able to, continue to explore food and cuisine and dining and, love and passion for ingredients, and then very specifically focusing on, our great Canadian beef and how special it is and the people who produce it and the awesome land where it comes from. So, for me, it's just been, it's been an absolutely, phenomenal life experience to get to this place, and I owe it to that pursuit of, the passion for cooking.
Wow, that was like such a well thought out, like chronological story of your culinary journey. I feel like I just learned so much about you just right there. Well done. I'm impressed.
Happy to share it. Thank you.
Yeah, well, and I know that you recently came back after a bit of a hiatus of being a member of the Culinary Federation. You are like jumping right in to the Calgary branch and even now on a new board position. So I'd love to know kind of what brought you back to the Federation and what motivated you to join and volunteer with the Calgary branch recently.
Yeah, I felt like from a personal perspective, the isolation that I experienced as in COVID and being removed from a professional kitchen where I've always appreciated so much the camaraderie and the feeling of working together on stuff, and that wasn't missing here at Canada Beef. But our team was relatively small and our challenges were also great. And I started to feel like I wanted to reconnect with people in a social environment and also make a contribution from my own time that would be a little bit more focused on my own personal sort of, I guess, commitment to the industry. And so when friends of mine were talking about their experiences on the board, and that the Calgary the Chefs Calgary Association was sort of rebuilding after a sort of prolonged COVID quiet time, you could say. Mm-hmm. So I thought it was just the timing was great. I could not only renew my membership and become active as a member, but then also hopefully with the opportunity to contribute towards the membership experience of others and encourage that sort of collaboration and mutual care that cooks and chefs and culinary professionals have for each other and for the industry. And to be honest, just for that, it has been an excellent experience for me. So I'm glad to be back in it. I've also had the opportunity to work with the Chefs Federation in my role with Canada Beef, and I've always appreciated the important work that the group does at the national level, and then and bringing those local groups together. So I feel like the connectivity is probably the main motivation and the value for me. And I've figured also while I'm there, leverage some opportunities to promote Canadian beef and promote the Canadian beef story.
Amazing. Well, all of that is music to my ears. For those who don't know that are tuning in, I'm the national administrator for the Culinary Federation. And so to hear somebody like excited and passionate about plugging in on the local level and offering guidance and leadership and tying in partnership opportunities is just excellent. So thank you, Matthew, for coming on board. And already it's been a pleasure working with you and excited to work with you as you volunteer on the Calgary board. So well done with that. Love to hear a little bit more about Canada Beef. I know a little bit myself just from my experience with our partnership together over the last couple of years. But for those tuning in that don't know much about Canada Beef, please tell us, what does it do?
Certainly, my pleasure. Yeah. Canada Beef is an organization, and the question that you have is super valid, because I was actually on a phone conversation today with a beef producer, and I found myself explaining who Canada Beef is and what Canada Beef does, and so it's our job to explain and get people to understand. So from a chef's perspective, and from industry, the Canada Beef is an organization that receives funding from the beef producer to promote Canadian beef products and grow loyalty for Canadian beef with Canadian consumers, and also and reaches out to the export markets that are really important to Canada and Canadian beef producer in our industry, to increase and support the value of the product. And so from sorry if there's a bit of noise, there is a renovation happening close by.
No worries.
If you can still hear me, I'll continue.
Yep.
So anyways, what our goal is really to familiarize the user and support an excellent Canadian beef experience. And in a lot of ways, that's not difficult to do, because Canadian beef is such an excellent product. So what our role is to build resources, to build, and I'll show you around our facility here shortly, but really focusing on building of resources to support the user, whether it's a consumer or a trade user like a chef or butcher, and also and support the trade of beef or the value of beef through marketing initiatives domestically in Canada and then abroad.
Amazing. Okay, well, I can't wait to see more. I know that in our next segment, we're going to take a bit of a tour with you. So just before we do that, we're going to have a little quick commercial here from Restaurants Canada.
Been through a whole lot, but we overcome. Enemies in our face, but we ain't gon' run. Never drift off course, always stay on mission. Won't slow us down, cause we way too driven. Yeah, we put in these 10,000 hours. You won't stop us, cause we got the power. Whole world is watching, and I hope they ready. From here on out, we are legendary. We ain't going nowhere. We'll be standing right here until the end of time. Till the end of time. We ain't going nowhere.
Awesome. Okay. Well, everything you shared before just makes me intrigued and excited to see the little tour that you're going to be taking us on, the Canadian Beef Center of Excellence. I believe our first stop is right where you are here in the conference room. Is that correct?
That's correct. Yeah, we're rolling. So we're going to take a tour. Our camera operator, sous chef Yoshi, she's going to follow us around. She'll probably have a chance to say hi in here in a second. So yeah, please follow along. If you guys, I won't see you now until probably the end of our session. So if you need me to adjust or shift around, just let me know. But we're starting off here in a freshly renovated Canadian Beef Center of Excellence boardroom. And I guess I should have mentioned a little bit about, the Center of Excellence used to and will again meet with people in person. But when COVID, kind of became a big part of our lives, we all of a sudden weren't seeing that traffic here anymore. We didn't have those international travelers. We didn't have those domestic chefs coming to do the ideations with us. So we had an opportunity also at the same time to invest a little bit in the facility during that quiet time while we developed our resource development skills, particularly in video. So the room is beautiful now. I'll point out right away to Chef Yoshi, take a look at our flooring, because we inspire around the Canadian beef attribute of marbling. So we've got this awesome textural treatment on the floor. We've got displays, and you'll see them all around our facility here. Some of the audience, or Jay, maybe the last time we were connecting virtually, will remember our facility also. And this used to be a sliding door. And so we wanted increased privacy and also continuous production capability in this adjacent studio space. So I'm going to show you a super cool trick. This is like, Yoshi, if you'll come a little closer, I'm going to give you the big reveal here. So when we're talking to folks, and we got this thing called smart glass. I think it could be called like really cool glass, and it instantly reveals on the other side our new studio space. We'll go there physically in person in a minute, but I wanted to show you that cool trick. There we go.
Wow, very, very.
Thank you.
What's the word? Like, I feel like I'm on the Jetsons. Very new world. Yeah, very high tech.
Okay, following us through here, I'm going to point out some of the really cool features of this room. Of course, you see displays. We've got some of our personnel working in the culinary studio space there, in the commercial culinary studio. You can see here the attention we've put into being able to capture and also broadcast, and we're going to take a closer look here. A closer look soon also at our meat cutting studio. So these spaces, this used to be called the meat lab. Now it's become a studio. People would join us in this space, folks from all around the world, Canadians, and also from export markets too. And they would stand, very close to the table, and we would cut for them, and we would have a whole program, and it would take many hours to get through that whole program. So, through COVID, we started to reimagine how we do things. The technology is very much available. I remember, when I first joined Canada Beef, that was in 2017, the challenges around streaming were huge, and it was really a big hurdle for us to actually connect live via the internet. And then Jay came along and then revolutionized this world. And so here we are now in this boardroom space, and you'll see, really a lot of attention to the displays. I'm going to point out this new resource. So online resources developed to support learning for consumers and for processors, whether they're chefs or in retail meat cutting, and just increased knowledge of the Canadian beef advantage. So, what makes Canadian beef great, and how do we differentiate it against other producing countries, and just support that message around excellence in quality in Canadian beef. And so around the room too, more monitors. This space we can actually now engage also virtually, of course, like we're doing here in the streaming, but with the streaming technologies, video conferencing, we can actually animate a video conference space with all these views onto the computer. I'll show you that in a minute. A few other upgrades we saw for this room specifically, and then after that, basically what we did was just put investment into the communications capabilities. But this here, I hope you can appreciate the improved sound quality here today. We've got sound dampening panels on the ceiling. We've got an array of microphones that balance the sound. So when a speaker will present in this room, we can actually balance the sound that those microphones are picking up so that they broadcast them in an intelligible way down at the other end of the table. And then speakers all the way around here to help with that balancing. So pretty advanced technology to make our meeting space better, and also just make that communication more outstanding.
Yes, Jay is very impressed. This is his forte in his world, and he's giving you applause over here. You can't see him, but he's clapping it out. Right
on. Great. I'm glad that Jay's stoked on this. That's important.
Yeah.
So this is a new door. So if anybody's ever been here before, this week we cut a hole through here, and we're going to enter into our cooler space, which is our cutting studio. And so we made this accessible so that, the president of Canada Beef is in fact a butcher. And so when him or other folks from the industry want to meet and want to do something, they can meet in the Meat Lab, now Meat Lab Studio. So we go directly into the cutting room. Like I said, a refrigerated space. For anybody who's been here before, it looks a lot as it did, except for now we have set up this Unistrut grid system. And so when I asked the guys who were building this up, and I said, is it stable? Will it rattle? Will it shake? Will it vibrate? Which is very important because of the cameras that you'll see here. They said no, and then they did one of these hanging on it. That's the stability that we get from this setup. So super important when it comes to neighbors doing renovations and stuff, that vibration would come through and potentially ruin that production day for us. We're coming in here. Yoshi was on the Now on the camera, was here cutting some product just a moment ago, so we thought we'd leave the display out because it looks pretty sharp. But you can see here these cameras, box cameras, also in this space, pan, tilt, zoom cameras, and so we can engage with the presenter as well as with the product from multiple angles. When we used to do this in person, we would have in this small room, this exact room here, capacity for 4, maybe 6, and then when we take 8 and 10s, the experience is a little bit lost because we couldn't see, we couldn't show. But now we have this ability to show like close up, whether those participants are right here standing with us, or they're in the boardroom, or they're in the other studios, or outside the facility entirely, maybe in another country. So it really gives us this reach that we never even imagined we had before. So, from 4 to unlimited. Otherwise, the Meat Lab stays pretty much the same with all the equipment that we need to demonstrate to partners and to trade operators, butchers and chefs, how to process beef to get the most value out of the product. We'll head this way.
Amazing. Okay, and where are we headed to now?
This is called the control room. So this is where the AV brain lives. And this was, I got to really give a shout out to the, I got to give credit to the AV partner in this project because of their ability to understand the concept, which we, developed over quite a long period of time, basically, from a cocktail napkin and into what you see here today. But this is an array of computers, computer screens, the monitors, a big one here to check our work when we're doing editing on the videos that we produce. And then all these computers here now can communicate with us, with you here, through video conferencing. So now we can not only capture the content, but each computer operates or is associated to a specific camera. And then in a Zoom environment or in a video conferencing space, we can populate that space with identities or profiles, and those profiles are in fact the view from the cameras. So then we can have the participant, the partner, the participant, the client, the participant, a boardroom, and then views of each shot on the product and also the presenter to make this whole system totally accessible virtually.
Wow, it takes a Zoom meeting to a whole new level. It's like just almost as good as being in person.
Yeah, the
Very impressive.
challenge is the aroma and the flavor, but we have worked on that a little bit. And we've got some ideas coming around that. We also, the room gets hot, so we built a little AC system there to keep everything cool and functional. And it's really working super well so far. We just fired it up. We did our first group on Saturday. We had a group of young producers here. They're the next generation of cattle producers producing beef in Canada, and they had a lot of appreciation for this. Best compliment, smart. That's what they said.
Yeah,
smart.
Very nice. Okay.
So here again, we were careful to watch out for the clearances. I've come close a couple times to catching one of these lights. But here again, PTZs, Unistrut grid, lots of lighting. This is the consumer culinary studio. This is where it all started in a lot of ways. We built this enclosure, these walls around here. If you want to take a look up, we're gonna see like a new exhaust system, a hood that we had to put in. We had to expand our black iron work. We had to do this ducting all the way to our main hood vent, patch into that, and then twin the exhaust out the side of the building. That was a bit of a hurdle, but we got through it, and we are now in business. We got our occupation and that certificate to occupy. So now we are in good shape, and basically starting this week, ready to roll with our capability to really connect in person and virtually. We're going to continue this way. If you have questions along the way, shoot them at me. I'll just keep walking you through. We got probably
I feel like you're doing a great job of covering everything that I'm thinking a question and you're covering it. So you just keep going. Okay, good. Like in this space, what we aim to do with the consumer is really inspire them. We've developed a new
new ecosystem, we call it. We built that from the ground up. It's a from scratch project. And what we developed is a web of websites. And so those websites are built to support the product experience for the consumer. And the consumer now can access the Canadian Beef Information Gateway on canadabeef.ca, very easy to find. Chefs, get onto it and also explore it, because there's a ton of wicked recipe ideas there, for inspiration, of course. But now we are, continuously inspiring the consumer to explore, to try new things, to try new cuts. And I think that work that we're doing, at the consumer level will help and support a food service environment too, with a consumer that wants to come out and try new things. And maybe they're not ready to commit to a recipe of something, but they're being inspired with new flavors and new ways to enjoy and consume beef. And that, I think, is going to open the door to the chefs and to the food service operators out there as well. We're going to head this way to the commercial culinary studio.
Okay, here we go.
And so this was all new. This is also pretty cool, I guess. This is like dry erase board. So when we want to scribble out ideas or play the concepts or whatever, we can write on the walls. So now we're outside the consumer culinary studio. This was a purpose-built facility now that we can continuously produce consumer content, while at the same time work on our commercial culinary content, which is in this space here in the commercial culinary studio. You can see here we've removed the ceiling, also blacked it out. We needed to make access and sight lines for the cameras. And so this used to be a drop-down ceiling. We kind of went industrial style on this. You can see here monitors, so that when we do have a presence, a physical presence with a group in our facility here, that group, if they're 2 people, for sure they're going to be right up there at the pass with chef and looking at some ideas and techniques. But if there's a group that's a larger size, they can also see what's going on, a view on the presenter, a view on the product. They can get right up and close to, and or step back and work on their phones or whatever. If we come this way, you can see here too that we have monitors overhead, and so that the presenter has the opportunity to engage with the audience. And so if we've got a group in the boardroom, or if we've got a group off-site and they're joining us through video conferencing, they can be right here to join us and in communication with our presenter. I'll take an opportunity to introduce our presenter. Here we have Chef, the Culinary Innovation Manager of the Canadian Beef Center of Excellence, Cameron Papel.
Hello, Cameron. Welcome to the show.
Hello. Hello.
Nice to have you.
Cameron's a tremendous asset. We've had him for 6 years now, I think, 5 years for sure. Yeah, and Cameron and I go back to a previous workplace, and also Yoshi, the camera operator today, and I go a ways back as well. When you're talking about the Chef Federation as a family, I feel like this is our family here, and the extent to which we've evolved with the physical facility, with our capabilities in video. We owe a lot of it to Cameron, because he's constantly innovating, constantly creating, and constantly putting those ideas into tangible results.
Into activation, yeah.
Total activation Cameron. That's what we will refer to him as.
That's a good nickname, Total Activation Cameron. He probably can't hear us, but I think he would like it if he could.
Yeah, and but I'm gonna. What Cameron's working on here today is going to be part. I'm going to move away from this camera here. Maybe Yoshi, come this way. Let's see Cameron, or Yoshi, stay there for a second. So we're working on a series of videos to help food service operators and use Canadian beef, and we're actually right now working on a video that is about trim utilization and getting more value out of the beef product. So this is one that we've been passionate about for some time, and when we used to do a lot of food service concept development here, and also sharing of those concepts, we used to use and now turning what we developed in terms of ideas into video resources about how to use this product, so that other chefs can also come to understand the opportunities with, let's say, the beef fat. So in this case here, incorporating beef fat into preparations, there's always going to be a little bit of trim that comes into the product. often there is, depending on the product, depending on the extent to which you trim it, you're going to end up with some fat. And so this is really a valuable resource where you get that fat, work it into your menus, be creative with how you incorporate it, and whether it's for desserts or savory dishes or enhancing the cooking process on beef. What you got there? Okay, there we go. So Cameron's got the reveal here. This is basically a cake of a rendered, beautiful white Canadian beef fat. And so with a low temperature, slow cook on that, we render out the fat, we strain it off just like Cameron showed, and then we chill it down. And now we have a usable unit, a block of beef fat that can be incorporated into recipes. Like I said, whether it's desserts, we've got a sticky toffee pudding recipe that we're working on right now. We've done creme brulees, we've done butterscotch, all kinds of opportunities to incorporate a complement of Canadian beef with fat that might have otherwise been trimmed off and possibly wasted. There's a reason why we refer to it as white gold. It is a super versatile ingredient. I started using it at home a lot because I do prepare a fair bit of beef at home. I always make sure to, and I do it in the microwave. It's super simple, low temperature microwave, renders out the fat. I strain it off, put it in the fridge, use it in everything. So here we are, commercial culinary studio. For those who've been here before, you probably recognize it. Set up with all the equipment to do proper demonstrations. This is also our prep kitchen. So we've done a lot of work in this space, and this is also where we will likely build another studio for beauty shots, for photography, and that door there, it leads us back into the consumer culinary studio. So I think I've shown you most of everything that I intended to show you on this tour today.
Wonderful. Well, and just quickly, the food service resources and videos and such that you were talking about, those can also be found at canadabeef.ca?
Yeah, great question.
Okay, well, awesome. We'll be sure to... Oh,
the answer is incorrect. Sorry.
Oh, sorry. My apologies.
cdnbeefperforms.ca.
Okay.
That's CDN. The reason we split it out is because we have a consumer facing website, and we also have a trade facing website. CanadaBeef.ca is the consumer site. cdnbeefperforms.ca is our trade site. That's where you'll see a lot of the videos, a lot of the video work that we've done facing food service. We've got a menu maximize series in our professional chef series. Definitely worth checking out. They're all great videos. Awesome ideas there. And we're really proud of the work, and we hope that you will have a chance to explore it.
Super. Well, we'll make sure that we include a link to that in the description of this video. And thank you so much for taking us on such a thorough tour and just giving us such a thorough snapshot of Canada Beef and your experience too in your culinary journey as a chef and working at Canada Beef and the Canadian Beef Centre for Excellence. I'm going to wrap up today's episode here for us. And as always, I like to say thank you first to Cisco's Virtual Kitchen for having us and for hosting our Culinary Federation Chefs in the Field series. It's been a pleasure today, Jay. Thanks for having us here in studio. And thank you, Matthew, for tuning in from Calgary and just putting all the effort and passion into our tour and your presentation today. We really appreciate it. Be sure to follow the Culinary Federation, Cisco's Virtual Kitchen, and Canada Beef on all social media platforms. This video and this live stream will be shared there for access for post viewing, and we'll be resharing it on all our platforms as well. So thanks for being our guest today. And to you too, Cameron, for showing us your tricks there. And for Yoshi too for being on the camera. We appreciate that. Yoshi. Yeah, and we'll just see you next time here on the Culinary Federation Chefs in the Field on SVK.
Thank you, Lisa.